afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for a very special show right here on News Channel 9. This is strange. We're saying goodbye to our very good friend, Calvin Sneed. Hey,
Who?
Calvin.
Glad you're here.
Who?
You were the one in the Oval with all the pictures. That was you.
Yeah.
I thought I recognized somebody there. He looked like my grandson.
Thanks for coming in early.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And you look great.
Well, you know who woke me up, don't you?
Of course, your sister, Sonia.
This is my sister Sonia
who
from
we have here.
Knoxville. Sonia Sneed. Say hello.
Hi.
Say hello.
We have a lot of fun stuff lined up for you today, but first we want to talk.
That they've not told me anything about.
That's
so
not.
I don't know anything. I don't know. I see the pictures, but look at that. Look at this thing
Yes,
here.
you look
Oh my
great.
gosh,
Look at
I
that.
have hair.
You're a handsome young man.
All the hair, the big afro and everything. Why are they
So
laughing at that?
This is, they like that part. We have a studio audience. These folks
Lots of
came here
people.
to see you today, Calvin. We all did.
Well, you know what? I'm looking at this 48 years of Calvin Sneed. Boy, that's been a lot, hasn't it? It's been a lot of
But
Calvin
seriously,
Sneed.
48 years. That's a great run, Calvin Sneed.
Yes, sir.
I've loved every minute of it. I've loved every single minute of it. It's been fun. It's been challenging. I don't really know what to say here.
Whatever you want. We have 45
your day.
minutes. So
Okay. Well, let me say one thing, because I heard that UT fired John Curry this morning.
They did.
And
yeah.
over this coaching thing, and you know what? Okay, enough. Okay. I'll be the new AD, okay? I'll go to Knoxville. I'll be the new AD. I'll do it. Hey, it's 7 o'clock tonight. I'm available.
He's got some free time.
You know,
We'll see.
I'll just go. First thing I'll do is hire Phil Fulmer as head coach, with a provision that he hire Peyton Manning as quarterback coach.
Sounds like a plan.
We're 2 minutes in. We're already off track, Calvin.
Yeah, done. Done.
Taking
Hey,
the show a whole
now,
different direction.
We're talking the future, and this is the
Yes.
future. Okay, I'll just do it. I'll do it. I'll do it from here. Don't have to move to Knoxville. I'll just commute.
Let's. You're avoiding the topic, which is you, Calvin Sneed.
Just threw your whole format off, didn't I?
Okay, we're good.
Look at all these papers here.
Oh, yeah, in case we get lost. We're already lost.
Oh, we're already. Okay, I'm back. I'm back on track.
Let's go back.
My sister keeps me on track.
Yeah, somebody's got to.
That's what sisters do.
Let's look back, as we were talking, 48 years of Calvin Sneed. Let's take a look at that.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
The year was 1969. Get Back by the Beatles was the #1 hit. Man landed on the moon, and a young man from Kingsport, Tennessee, landed his first job in broadcasting. Calvin Sneed started at WKPT in Kingsport as a DJ and radio news broadcaster. He would stay there 3 years before his first stint here at WTVC.
So we were the two youngest kids on the block at Channel 9. And we didn't get the plush assignments, I can assure you. And back in those days, you did everything except take the trash out at night. So it was a lot of fun.
Then he was a reporter and photographer.
Calvin was very reserved and quiet, which surprises apparently a lot of people today.
He had the look, he had the style, he had hair.
3, 2, 1.
Calvin's next move was in 1975 to Knoxville. He juggled continuing his degree at UTK and working at WIVK and WATE. And again, that hair. It was there at WATE Calvin made history. He was the first African-American news anchor in East Tennessee. He also hosted the first weekend sports show in Knoxville. Calvin and May Kay Beeler hosted PM Magazine, the first show of its kind in East Tennessee. And Calvin kept working in Knoxville for 9 years. In 1986, he landed a job at WTVN in Ohio, now WSYX. There, Calvin started his first consumer-advocated segment called 6 on Your Side, branding WSYX still carries today. Calvin toured around for a few more years until he came back home in 1992, and he's been here ever since. Calvin landed an anchor job at Channel 9 4 months after he arrived. Call Calvin. Does it work? Brands synonymous with WTVC. Calvin worked hard to keep us informed and safe.
Do you know you did something wrong?
No, not really.
It's speed limit 30 all the way through the school zone. Did you know that?
Calvin was with us when we laughed. He was also there at some of the worst times in our nation's history. And when tragedy struck us here at home, Calvin was there to keep the community informed and safe. And now we reach the end of Calvin's news career, at least for now anyway. To his friends, coworkers, and viewers, Calvin was always more than just a news anchor or reporter. Calvin was and is our friend.
No doubt about that.
My goodness, who was that masked man?
Somebody with hair.
I look like I've never seen him before.
Kim's got jokes. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he's got good jokes.
I do.
You didn't tell me that about you.
Now, your sister Sonia is here with us.
Yes.
You knew Calvin before any of that.
Yes.
The
Okay, do
early-
I need to leave for this?
The
Because
early
I know
days of
I know
Calvin.
what's going to come out of
How
here.
was Calvin growing up?
He was protective. He was very protective of me, and he, even back then, he was always hiking and looking at things in the backyard. We had woods in the backyard, and he was always hiking and making signs back in his pre-bridge hunter days. But he was always interested in radio and TV, what we used to call audio-visual. So I think he's just come full circle now.
Yeah. Was he a good kid?
He was not a morning person, and no, he was not a morning person. I would shoot out of the bed, but he was relatively a good person, a good kid. Yeah, he was.
The protective thing. I'm not protective, am I?
But it has come full circle because now I'm protective of him.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
So he was a good kid.
Many of us have not met you, but we hear stories about you
know
all the
you
time.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
I know
we
you
do.
do.
Well, let's see. She bought this tie. She picked out this.
Oh, at Christmas time, he put in the present. He said, "This is from Sonia."
Yes.
Tell me what I got you.
Yes, and it's
What did
one
I
in
get you?
There's one in the car now.
Be sure to tell me what it is.
I will.
'Cause I'd like to know.
I always do.
But I know he enjoyed it, and he's very reluctant, in a sense, to leave. And he keeps calling me saying, "I'm really not sure about this," and I'll say, "Oh, just make up your mind, do one thing or another." But he was very reluctant to leave. But I think he's leaving on a high note, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, we all are.
Well, thank you.
Very proud
Yeah.
of him. No doubt about that.
She actually said she was proud of me.
Yeah, we all are proud of you, Calvin.
How does that feel?
Well, we are 5 years apart in age. 5 years apart. He's 5 years older than me, and we are the only family we have left. So it's easy to vent to each other, and then we just get over it. He just hangs on the phone and he says, "Are you done?" And then I'll
Okay,
usually,
well, let me
but
tell my story. She
usually
hangs up on
I'll
me
hang
when her
up on
favorite show is on.
I'll
Oh, I
hang
gotta go. I gotta go. Law and Order's on. Click.
Yeah, I'll hang up.
You know,
But
and I'm
he's-
like, okay, bye. Click.
I'm proud of him. He's been very good at what he does. He's very good at what he does,
Yes,
and he
he
always
is.
says, "I've got to go play TV," and that's what, and that's it.
Now,
That's-
y'all have never heard that, have you?
There are a lot of Calvin sayings.
Yeah,
Calvinism.
I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure. But it's really nice to be here. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Our
Well,
pleasure.
Absolutely. We have a whole day planned for you.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
There's
well,
cake in there after
what is
this?
it? 12:23, and we got to go to 1 o'clock. Is it 1 o'clock, Mike? Where are we? We're not going past 1, are we? Okay. Just make sure. Don't want to hit the chew. Don't want to mess with the chew.
We'll take a break right now. How about that? And we'll
That's a good idea.
We'll breathe for a minute and come back and talk more about Calvin. More Calvin coming up. Stay
More
right
Calvin.
there.
Oh
You
my
don't want to miss
goodness.
it.
Calvin Sneed, Eyewitness News. Oh, there seems to be a lot of school spirit since the Alabama game. How much school spirit? Okay, all right, enough. That's all. No more. Turn that thing off.
Now, as we told you earlier, Calvin got a start in TV in 1969.
Yes.
Yeah.
69. And in the 80s,
Kingsport, Tennessee.
in the 80s, you worked on a show called PM Magazine.
Absolutely.
I love the stories.
It was the most fun I've ever had in my life.
We met a lot of famous people. We'd have people come up with, "Oh, I know them. I met them when I did PM Magazine."
Calvin knows
Superstars.
everybody.
Through PM Magazine. Then we had the 1982 World's Fair.
Right.
When we had PM Magazine.
So that was in
we were able
Knoxville.
to, we were able to travel a lot, meet movie stars coming into town, TV stars. Y'all laughed when I said that I had met and interviewed David Cassidy.
Right.
Yes, we did.
But we actually did. I actually did talk to him.
And this is you from the 80s. That's Calvin in the 80s.
I
my
love
goodness.
that sweater.
That's the
What's
Santa
that?
Claus train. That's the train that CSX Railroad runs from Elkhorn City, Kentucky to Kingsport every year, delivering toys and toys and candy to the kids that live, the Appalachian kids that live along the railroad track.
There you go.
That was a fun story.
So you stayed, you did that show for how many years? 5 years?
Almost 5 years, yeah. And I co-hosted with May K. Beeler, and you know, it's funny because we make jokes about you know, our home wives and our home husbands. She was my work wife, just like this is my work wife too, okay? I mean, everybody can have their home life, but when you get to work, guess what? You're married. You're married. And your marriage license is a contract from Sinclair Broadcast Group. Am I right, Mike? Where's Mike? Mike, yeah. Am I right?
Yes.
We are married.
Our general manager, Mike,
we are married through that contract. So we just have to accept that. And
good times, bad times, always good times.
Yeah, and we're still married. Except there's no divorce counselor. So what are you going to do?
I don't know how I'm going to take it when you leave.
Oh, stop. No crying.
No crying.
No crying.
No crying.
No crying.
There's no crying in the show.
This is a happy time.
It is.
So be happy.
It is
PM
happy. Magazine
was just one of the chapters in your long career. We sat down not long ago, you and I did, and you talked about when you were coming up in this business, you would go to a TV station in the 80s and even in the 90s, and when you would go into a station, you would see people who built those stations, the engineers who put those stations on the air.
Those people were actually with us.
Right.
And they actually had memories of what it was like. And in fact, it's funny you mentioned that because I wish if there's a camera on the audience, he just came in, I'm looking at him right now. There's one person that I want everybody here to meet at some point here here in at least in the audience here. This man, when I got here, he hired me in 1972 at this TV station. When I first got here, there were two people that I met on the first day when I got in the door. I met three people actually. The news director, Gil Norwood, and I met Reeve Owen, who was the general manager of the TV station. Nice, big, fancy office. Impressed me because he had a restroom right off the, I'd never seen that before. A restroom off the general manager's office. And Leon Webb. And Leon Webb, actually, I am so glad to see this man. We owe this man a debt of gratitude because he and Reeve Owen moved this TV station. A little bit of history, folks. They moved this ABC TV station from Rome, Georgia to Chattanooga, Tennessee at the end of 1957, just so it could sign on the air as an ABC affiliate for Chattanooga, Tennessee in 1958. On February 11th.
And they did some real moving.
Oh, spit and glue and duct tape. that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
And it worked.
And we owe them a debt of gratitude because Chattanooga at that time was the smallest, if not the smallest, it was one of the smallest television markets around the country that had 3 VHF TV stations. 3. And of course VHF, I'm not going to get technical on you here, but VHF TV stations, analog stations, were easier to pick up than the UHF stations. Now it's the other way around. But back in the day, you know, Chattanooga was fortunate to have 3 VHF stations, just like Atlanta. We were just like Atlanta and Nashville.
We're going to miss you for so many reasons, but that right there, what you just did, is part of it because you're part of that generation that remembers how it all came together, how they did TV, you know, in the decades before us.
And I was young. I was learning it all. I was soaking it all in. When I went to Knoxville, after I worked here for 3 years and went back to Knoxville, I started getting interviews, and I want to talk to John Hart at WBIR. I want to talk to Peggy, who was it at Channel 6 in Knoxville? Who was it? The general manager at Channel 6 at WATE. I wanted to talk to those. I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to pick their brains. I wanted to learn, and they were impressed, I guess, that somebody, you know, wanted to know. You know, so they opened up, pulled the afro back, poured the information in, and I just kept it all these years, and it's all up here. It's all up here.
It is.
And he's going to say more of the things that are up here coming up in a second. More Calvin after the break.
Yes, he is.
Stay right there.
Welcome back, everybody. We're so glad that you're here. We're honoring Calvin Sneed today, and
you know, I gotta say, I am so embarrassed.
why?
Embarrassed?
You should be
Yes,
embarrassed.
because I don't think of myself as a big thing.
But you've done it. 48
Yeah.
years in TV.
You're the man.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, there's Miss Marcia.
Miss Marcia is
You
here.
know, Miss Marcia.
Yes.
I mean, just
Bob Johnson's
icons.
here.
Yeah.
Bob Johnson.
Daryl Patterson's
You
here.
know,
here.
Daryl. I mean, they're icons
Yeah.
in TV, and I'm not up. I'm just like everybody else at home.
And they
I
just-
sit back and I watch TV
Good to
just
see
like
you.
everybody else, you know, and I look at things, you know, and that's just the way I am. I'm not. I don't think it's that big a deal.
Well, it is to us. And
Well, fine.
fine. He always says
Just
that.
fine. Okay.
And you were talking about his bucket list.
Yes, he had Calvin over the last, 8 months or so?
About a year.
About a year. He's had this list of things that he wanted to do. And one of those things was go to New York City and go to Good Morning America. And this is you, a GMA. I mean, this is one of those things that a lot of us never get a chance to do. And that's
Look
awesome.
at you.
Yes, Robin Roberts is just, and I heard from her just a couple of days ago about this. And when you make friends like that, you want to keep them.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Those
yeah.
kinds of friends you want to keep. But just those guys, they treated me like I was one of them. I mean, Martha Raddatz, you know, she talks to generals.
Right,
You
right.
know,
She's a big
she
deal.
talked 5-star generals. Call her in the middle of the night with stories. You know, I mean, but she talked to me. She took the time to talk to me, and I thought that was just incredible.
I think a funny thing for me and to share with the audience is that when you went in before you met Robin, he walked up to her and told her what?
That you were mispronouncing the city where I come from. I'm sorry, it ain't Chattanooga. To my knowledge, Glenn Miller has never been to this town, okay? If he'd come to this town, they would have looked him in the eye like this and said, Chattanooga. It's Chattanooga. You know, it's not Chattanooga.
They're telling
People
Robin
here
Roberts
know
how to
that
do
you
it.
people here know that you are not from here if you say Chattanooga.
And he went right up and corrected her.
I know he did. I
Well,
know he did.
you know, you just got to straighten them out. You know, just hey, Chattanooga. I mean, I don't mispronounce New York City. I don't mispronounce. And I told her later. I said, you know, she said, you know, you've just got guts doing that.
You did.
You had guts doing that, and that
do
just
have
impressed me because, you know, I told her, I said, well, you know, I could have mispronounced Pass Christiane, where she's from in Mississippi. I could have said Pass Christian.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't.
You know, like it looks, you know, but we had a good time.
Yeah,
we had a good time. They were all just wonderful, just wonderful.
Yeah,
it was
time.
great. It was a great trip. Still thinking about it.
Great memories.
Lots
All
more?
right. All right, yeah, stay with us. We have more of Calvin Sneed, some of the best Calvin moments still to come.
Really?
Kill Calvin. Kill
What else did I
Calvin.
do?
What's next?
Oh, kill Calvin, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you almost did.
No.
Green, green, green. What was that? Oh, I haven't seen that one.
That's that crazy fish. Didn't want to get in the boat.
Oh, man.
More of this coming up. You've seen Calvin on the air for years, but you don't get to see Calvin in the newsroom. Calvin's interesting. He
Yes.
has nicknames for
he is,
everyone.
isn't he?
Yes.
Oh,
Nicknames or special greetings for everybody. Everybody.
Yes, he does.
He's one of those people that has a special relationship with everyone. That he's got a special thing with everybody.
You do.
You do.
You really
You
do.
do.
Everyone.
Yeah, he's a different person. We started digging through the old tapes of Calvin as well. There's a
Oh,
lot of
no.
old
Good
tapes.
ones.
Oh,
You know,
no.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aren't you tired of doing that
No,
already?
You're a consumer reporter. Everybody calls Calvin. They still know it. But people didn't see behind the scenes when you were being tossed around.
What are you all leading up to that I
kill
haven't seen?
Calvin.
What are you getting ready to do here?
Kill Calvin.
They say pain is temporary.
He wants to see his live tonight. Find out about wrestling, baby. you'll be at one with nature.
Yeah, and the buzzards. Why do they call this buzzards roost?
The buzzards circle the dead meat at the bottom.
No, don't touch those. No.
The one's hanging.
Please, don't touch those. Nope. Good job.
You're doing great. Hey, this would be a good time to look out.
Okay.
Just look out, not down, look out.
Oh, yeah.
Here's your ignition switch. Push it up.
Go fast and turn left.
Just hang on and use your right foot. Woo! Man, look good.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good, Calvin. I liked it. Did you?
I loved it.
It's like deer hunting. You have to see him before you can get him. Stand here and wait on me. I'll hand him off to you, and you can do the battle with him.
Okay.
Got him on!
That's good job. Good job. Yeah, bring him back here just a second.
No, you got to stand up, Calvin. You got to stand up and fight him.
That's fun, ain't it, Calvin?
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Oh, man.
He's a little nervous. He ain't never been on a boat before.
Wow.
Yeah!
Whoa! That was a good job. You did a good job on him. You sure did.
Stay with me. 2. Yeah! Pull it, baby. Stand on your chair. Stand up. All right. Come on. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Down. Come on, man. You got to at least touch the bucket.
There's a right way to slam them out. Then there's Calvin's way.
There you go. Oh, my God. I need the water, okay?
Feel my wrist turning?
Oh, yeah.
First report.
Oh, yeah.
Came down room first one that even stepped out there to attempt to do it with us. But also, we were very, very pleased to see that you lasted as long as you did.
I had to learn how to walk all over again.
How sore were you?
The muscles, there were muscles that were pulled that I didn't even know I had, okay? So I had to learn how to walk. It took me a week. And the boss said, why did you do that? And I said, kill Calvin.
That's what we're supposed to do, right?
Which, by the way, Mary Ellen Locher coined that phrase.
Did she really?
That was a Mel phrase.
Aww.
Because the title of the whole thing was Calvin's Consumer Guide to Grown-Up Fun, right? I mean, we had to wrap consumer around it somehow.
Sure.
But Mel called it, she said, based on what happened. I mean, that first there, I'd broken my ankle skydiving. Right. And luckily they didn't show you that.
Yeah, I heard the stories though.
But I had to go through a lot.
Yeah, and
do that.
We went through a lot with Mary Ellen when she passed away.
Yes, that broke my heart. That broke my heart because I had known Mel. I knew Mary Ellen before she got here. I knew her when she was in Ohio because when she was in Ohio, in Steubenville, Ohio, right. I was in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
And then we were ABC stations. So, you know, you talk to the other stations, you know, in Cincinnati and Columbus and Cleveland and Steubenville and Toledo, you know, and Huntington, West Virginia. All the ABC affiliates knew each other and they shared things. And I would see her every once in a while. Something would pop up or something would be going on at the State House in Columbus and she would that's health related. She'd come over, you know, and if it were consumer, then they'd have her do something while she was there. And I'd known her for years, and her passing just was a blow.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Oh, but she loved you. Gosh, she loved you. And then we have a door in the back that when you go through it, it slams, and he would do that. Like you go back there to put your makeup on, and he'd come out, and every time the door would slam, and she would say,
"Quit slamming that door!" And she'd come out and she'd say, "Shut up, Calvin. Shut up." And she's going about her, but I like sharing relationships with people like that. You mentioned I like, everybody has like a different name or a nickname. I like sharing that with people. I like that personal relationship, not just with them, but with viewers too.
Sure.
I mean, I like sharing that personal feeling with them as well.
And
I think that's important.
This is Gladys.
This is Gladys.
He never calls her
Vince
Kim,
Lennon
ever.
started calling. Vince Lennon started. He's here. He started calling you one day. The Gladys, Gladys this, Gladys that, and that just stuck. That just.
And I answer to it. When he says Gladys, I say what?
And the thing is, everybody in the newsroom answers to it. They all say it too.
Yes.
So I don't know.
It's all good.
I'm rubbing off on people. Shouldn't be doing that.
That's a good thing, Calvin.
It's all good.
All right, stay right there. We're going to talk about Calvin's future.
It's good stuff.
It's next.
Does he have one?
The future is
I'm
next.
going to Knoxville to be the new AD.
No.
Oh, I'm not?
Sure.
Oh, damn.
Back. So Calvin, you're going to have a lot of free time now.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to hunt bridges. I'm going to hunt bridges. I just got back from, I went to Oklahoma 2 months ago and got a picture of a one-of-a-kind bridge on Route 66, the old Route 66. And I spent 3 or 4 hours communing with that bridge. And I went to Mississippi this past weekend and stayed all day. Got back at like 10 o'clock at night. I'm on a mission to save these bridges. They just blew up one. I think it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday in Dandridge, Tennessee, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart. TVA built that bridge when they impounded Douglas Lake, and that bridge had been there since the 1940s, and. I got a chance to go and spend a Saturday morning on that bridge about 3 weeks ago, just getting pictures of it before it left us.
Oh yeah.
And and folks, you've heard me talk about bridges before. I mean, sometimes I think I'm repetitive in saying that they're relics of the past. They're an engineering marvel that has just fascinated me since I was 10 years old. And now they're leaving us. Now they're being torn down. Now they're going away. And I'm aiming to, if I can't save them, I'm going to try to capture them on digital pictures. We've got one just down the hill from us that I'm going to need you guys to help me with, because when they go in with the bulldozers and get ready to tear it down, I'm trying to find out what I should wear when I chain myself to the girder. You know, do I wear? Is it going to be cold? You know, I mean, do I need to bundle up? You know, I need to go to like the Wally World and get those big steel clamps, you know, to where nobody can cut through those, because I figure I'm probably going to go down with the ship. Kingsport, Tennessee, you got one up there that's not going away either. So trust me, I know what I'm doing.
Another book?
No.
Working on a second book, yeah. The bridge book was very successful. I was very pleased that people remember those old bridges. They remember them. They're part of your childhood.
Right.
And hopefully, and anything that I get on the books, I put right back into a fund to not only save and preserve bridges, but it funds the next bridge trip that I'm going to do. Right. So, it's a continuous thing. I don't like to think that I'm making money off that, you know, because it's all about bridge preservation. That's what we need to be thinking about, because these things are part of our history.
Yeah.
And where can people go to get a book or a signed copy of the book?
Barnes & Noble has, Barnes & Noble here in Chattanooga has one. I'm doing a book signing at I Love Books in Kingsport, Tennessee on December 17th. Okay. I'll be up there for that. We're trying to get one in Knoxville. But otherwise, just go to my Facebook page. I've got them. I can send you one.
Just search Calvin Sneed.
They're $35. Yeah. Everybody's like, why is it so much? Why is it so much? It's a coffee table book. Where do you get a coffee table book for 15 bucks?
Yeah, really.
Okay, you know, nobody does. And then it's this big, and you can't see the bridge. You can't appreciate it.
Right.
So these are good quality pictures on good quality paper in a good quality book. Guess what? That's a coffee table book.
And if you're lucky, you can get it autographed too.
I'll do that too.
It's a nice book.
I'll do that too.
It is. It's very nice.
So
have I sold you one yet?
I don't have one yet.
Oh, you
I've
don't?
seen it.
Oh.
I've looked at it.
I've got them in the car. They're in the car.
They are.
They're in the car. We got them. We'll hook you up.
Do you have a timeline for the second book? Do you know when you might want to?
It's probably going to be sometime next year.
Okay.
I've got, there are so many pictures that did not make it in this first book that I could easily just start another book on the pictures that didn't make it into this one, because I've been to so many places, and you'll recognize the bridges when you see them.
And they're great pictures too.
Because you will have known those bridges all your life.
All right, Calvin.
Nice.
One more segment to go. One more.
1 o'clock approaches.
We've got 5 minutes left.
What in the world can we do in 5 minutes?
More surprises for Calvin.
More?
Yes. Yes.
More?
Yes.
We'll be right back.
And before we say goodbye, we've got some folks with some things and some things to say that Calvin's need. First,
and I have no idea what's going on here.
Well, Calvin, so you're going to have something you need to do, right, after 6 o'clock news tonight. And so I just, you're talking about your next career, and you were a consumer reporter.
You're going to make me a firefighter, right?
I was thinking
because you know Jim was the former fire chief in Chattanooga.
Yeah, and I had a second career, so I'm sure you've got one. But as it links with your consumer reporting, I thought there was numerous boards you may want to serve on. Some of those that you thought needed correcting, so now you can be right in there with them, and they pay a lot. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely
You're going to
zero.
need that.
But in all sincerity, just came here today on behalf of Hamilton County, all the citizens. I know all of the viewing area to say thank you for a job well done. I
appreciate that.
I certainly enjoyed my time.
I appreciate that.
And I just want to say you were always straightforward and honest with me, and a man of integrity, and I really respect what you've been able to do here and working with you in both professions.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, Jim.
And I get to follow the mayor. It's never good to follow someone who
oh my goodness.
practices
Look
speeches.
at this.
Calvin, on behalf of the station, we put together a little gift for you.
Oh, that is so cool.
To recognize your love of bridges. And this was taken actually the last time the bridge was up, when you did your story and rode the bridge.
That was the last story I did.
The same morning.
The last story I did.
We wanted you to have it as a little keepsake. It's signed by all your co-workers and friends and everyone who you've touched here. I've had the pleasure of working with you for 13 years. And not many people know I've had the pleasure of viewing you since I was a student at UT. Calvin was on WTVC.
He used to watch. That's all I heard about when I first met this guy. You used to do PM Magazine in Knoxville. Boy, we used to watch that show. We loved watching that show.
We were in class.
Yeah, right.
We were in class. But this is for you. We're going to miss you. You've been tremendously important, not just to this television station, but to Chattanooga and to everyone here. And I consider you a good friend. I'm going to miss you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. And to everybody out there, I know we've got, 30 seconds left. Thank you all for letting me come into your homes. It means a lot. It means no crying.
Too late.
It's just been an absolute joy to talk to people, to meet people, to see people, to get to know them. I love all of you. You're like my family, okay? So, no crying. So, I'll be around. I'm not going anywhere. I'll always be here. And just, if you see me, just say hi. Look at that, we're over.
I know, I was going to clap, but I don't want to. There he is, that's the guy I know.
Oh my goodness. That is so cool.